still in Creepy Town at me. That's the music. So, in the last session, you guys were able to rescue this little spawning child. Sorry.
That's a relative term, yeah.
What?
Rescue this little child.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I say rescue. It sort of rescued itself. But you were able to tempt it to leave its base.
We were able to tempt it to get vaporised.
Yeah, well, what's its name? Something I can't find it.
Hornby or some shit.
Hornby.
Hosby.
Hosby.
Why that's not on my anyway, yeah, you were able to collect this child from managing to avoid these pretty terrifying Thinkali creatures.
Just have to make a note of Will's last words.
Despite all the painting efforts they tried. I sort of force them on you guys at some point down the line. And you made your way over to the direction of the Pale Scholar, Moxenor. And on your way, you encountered the hotly rumoured beast with lightning breath, which turned out to be this large reptilian, slimy, many-legged creature.
That's what we thought.
Which wasted no time in firing a pretty violent breath of lightning, which almost took a couple of you out, but thanks to Pilana's aura of warding.
No, fucking KO'd Pilana though.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did.
Killed later on.
KO'd me, but then we realised Will had some magic things which stopped me being totally dead.
Sorry.
That came in clutch.
Mm.
It saved me as well. I wasn't fine with that.
Fair.
And after a wall of fire and a bit of battle, a bit of back and forth, you were able to slay the beast, even though it was trying to escape. You managed to drop it, which is pretty cool. Poor old Hosby was reduced to slime, but in a sort of Groot style,
non-sexual way.
I'll even think that. Really, in a sort of Groot-esque way. She's restored to some capacity, and with some healing, you managed to sort of encapsulate her form in a small pod, which is now occasionally emitting spores, communicating when available. But yeah, so last we finished, you guys were fighting off a couple of these nasty bugs which were crawling out, trying to eat up the blood around the area from the battle. You were in this quite hostile territory where the terrain was really difficult to navigate. And there's all these floating fungal spores which seem to detonate in quite a violent explosion even if you get too close to them. I imagine you're probably wanting to head on through the swamp of effervescence.
Can I search the dragon for keys or weapons?
Yes. You want to do that too?
Can I go with him?
Yeah.
Can I maybe I'm gonna try and chop a fang out of its mouth, or maybe two fangs out of its mouth.
Sure, yeah.
Wait, how many's it got?
No, because
I want a necklace.
when we fought one of the drakes. We fought one of the blue drakes.
Yeah.
Dragos killed the blue drake when we were going into the tomb where we got the ring of. No, not that one. Where we got the tome. And I'm gonna make like a necklace of all these fangs of all these different monsters that we've killed.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, I'd say you're.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, you'd be easily be able to gather a few teeth from it.
And
Is dragon
Or
scale
freaking
armor
horn,
light
bro.
armor?
So dragon armor is like an effect that can be applied to different types of armor, but this creature isn't a dragon.
Okay.
In fact, why don't each of you give me either history or arcana? It's up to you. And you can do it if you want.
Wow, +0 or
21.
+0.
yeah, same.
2.
15.
Ooh, a +9 or a +9?
Fuck you.
I'm good at history and arcana.
I would say that you would actually have advantage on this check, by the way.
Why?
Surely 5 of us
That's
doing
funny.
it is advantage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
What, and why?
Because it's somewhat relevant to your
Inspiration points?
15.
Yeah.
I need to remember that.
Okay, cool. So you got a nat 20. You got
21.
21. Yeah. So Pilana, you've heard stories because these creatures date as far back as the creation of the material plane. Dorwin, I'm sure you've read a couple of books about these guys now. Things have settled. You kind of clocked what it is. This creature is called a Behir, and they were sort of brought into existence by the giants, who were natural enemies of dragons in the early days of the material plane. These sort of colossal form giants and dragons were sort of eternally at war. The giants, having trouble with certain elements of the dragon's abilities, kind of manufactured these creatures into existence. They now live in various locations, sneaking around, desperately hungry at all times.
Lit.
Sounds like me.
Yeah. So yeah, well done for slaying it. It's quite a formidable opponent. In terms of searching for stuff, I would say that you don't really find much of interest.
What the hell?
Jesus Christ, what the hell? Yeah, so just a big old corpse full of bugs.
Sick. I take the bugs.
Succus my coccus.
All right. You know the magic word.
He knows my true name. Okay, so I mean, what do you want to do, guys?
Continue on. Personally.
We will continue on our path to this pale scholar.
So, as you progress through this pretty wretched landscape of haggard rocky terrain, now constantly kind of watching your backs for any potential threats, you continue along, avoiding. In fact, why doesn't everyone give me a dexterity check, please?
Just normal dex.
A dex save. Do a save.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Do I have advantage?
No.
Okay. 4.
Okay.
26.
Nice. 7.
Yeah.
9.
Okay.
That's exhaustion.
Is it?
So you all receive an exhaustion and also 9 points of damage as each of you at various points have gotten too close to these fungal spores, causing them to detonate, unable to avoid them. Enoch looks back and sniggers at you.
Mirthlessly chuckles.
So and a point of exhaustion, but
And a point of
we all get a point, do we?
If you click on the conditions bit and scroll down,
You're jumping on these things.
And I say,
Don't
it's
sting
like under
you.
your health.
and I say, watch yourself, Gesh.
So I did briefly miss this. What is the effect of exhaustion points? You get a...
-1 to every roll.
Well, each level of exhaustion is minus that
so
number
like-
to your rolls,
To every roll.
Yeah.
like every d20.
If you get 11, you're dead.
That's pretty exhausted.
Who would get to 11 without having a long rest?
Well, if you're in like the desert or the Arctic and you didn't have the
Imagine role playing that. I walk. 1 point of exhaustion. I walk. Oh god.
That's how the rules is written and it's played. Yeah.
Jeez.
In fact, there's even rules for hour by hour travel in the book.
Really?
God, how tedious.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
You can
Keeping track of rations and stuff.
And you were moaning about encumbrance, eh?
Yeah, still am.
They should have like calories mechanic. How much food you got to eat a
You've got
day.
vitamin D deficiency. So you get an ingrown toenail. I don't know what happens if you get
Yeah, I had a really sick orc, but they died of malaria.
Have you seen that Auntie Donna sketch where there's like a DM and he's obsessed with giving like cancer? And he's like,
Oh, yeah.
walking to the oogie boogie forest and there's cancer! What the fuck?
The carpal tunnel syndrome, like the wristy thing, was like first described in like 1858 or something, and the recommended treatment for it at the time was amputation.
My hand hurts. Gotta chop it off, mate.
Oh my god.
That's such a matter-of-fact solution.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Body part hurts? Get rid of it.
There's ghosts in your blood. Better do cocaine about it.
So we haven't had a long rest then since our battle. Okay.
Nah, too sketchy. Can't camp by the explosives.
Well.
I know.
You get that spell focus on.
You should have just made Schmide Dunderkit.
I did genuinely for 1 minute think, like, would it be funny if for some reason my character had, like, the ability to just bring people back to life?
You just kill yourself.
But yeah, after all these weeks being like, no, they're not ready, they're not quite ready.
It's just time. It took me a while to come up with a schneid dundercat.
When Cora sent me like her backstory, there were most of it's like pretty fleshed out, and there's bits of it which are less so. And she was like, note to Oscar, I could write a whole book about this bit, so I'm just skipping past it. Imagine a montage of skills. And there's the line before that is, oh yes, I would love to. I don't want to spoil it, but I would love to be have these abilities, and then the skip head is, and then she had these abilities. It's just like it was quite funny. Okay, yes. So you guys find that you see in the distance this kind of dull, kind of almost slightly like pinkish, reddish glow occasionally between the rocky crags as you're going.
Hey Google. Hey Google.
And as you're getting closer, you see that this is actually the swamp itself. It kind of has this sort of dull aura around it, and you see there's these various.
Can I look at the map again? What are you explaining?
Guess you got my day.
No.
Oscar, you got my day.
No, I've been looking for
Who's
it.
got my fucking day?
The black one.
Yeah. Oh, it's in my pocket.
Dickhead.
You guys.
Oh, here. We're up here.
Yeah.
We're up here.
You guys see there's various like plant life and this kind of slow movement of like slimy creatures beneath blankets of moss that are kind of lying on top of the swamp water itself. It looks like the path will be quite difficult. And, as you get closer to it, you actually hear there's this kind of constant, almost like fizzing sound, like there's these constant bubbles of gas emerging from the swamp, and it really packs quite a foul smell. It's probably about a day and a half's travel through, so you can kind of decide whether you want to go through, spend more time in the swamp looking for somewhere to camp and get some rest, or you can choose to just power through and get to the other side of this swamp.
Okay. Can we talk to Hornsby?
Yeah, sure.
Hornsby?
Yeah. Hello.
Hosby. Hi, Hosby. How are you?
Nice. You didn't do as high last time, and it's good that you've gone higher because it's more feminine, isn't it?
Is it?
No, I'm being legit. Whereas you weren't. You were like, oh, what do I say? How do I say? And that was really good. You just snapped it. So keep going with that.
Yeah. Balana, what is it?
I mean, how else how you want?
Oh. Well, I've been better.
Really? He says, looking at the slug in his hair. Well, I'm so sorry to hear that. We were just wondering, is it faster to go through this swamp or round it?
So, I've not actually been to the swamp myself
Just
before.
tip him into the swamp. Useless.
He says, see, I would have this information for you if my sovereign would ever let me actually go anywhere. Yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Okay.
What's it look like?
Thanks, mate.
What do you guys want to do then?
Well, I vote we go around the swamp. These boots don't seem like they want.
How does it look? How does our path around the swamp look? Does it look possible, or is it like sort of immediately fall into swamp?
Well, I'd say that you probably can't really see as far as the edge of the swamp from where you are at the moment. Yeah, I mean, according to the map, the swamp that you guys acquired from the drow, it looks like the swamp kind of goes all the way up to the cave walls. So it might end up being a bit of a waste of time heading that direction.
Well, if we are able to rest before we traverse these marshes, I could summon my Dragos, my young brother, and the two of us could fly across the swamp and maybe see if there is another way another way through or around, and if not, maybe a somewhat safer path. Maybe I could scout and maybe see if it exists.
The exploding mushroom still around us.
There's like a couple around, but they seem to be a lot more sparse where the swamp is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'm pretty exhausted. Why don't we set up camp and have a little rest?
Well, so I would need to have a long rest to be able to summon Dragos again.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
let's do that.
Let's shall we make camp?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll say that you guys are able to set yourselves up somewhere like in the Rocky Crags, maybe. Probably with 2 of you on guard at any one time, I would say, because it's pretty sketchy around here.
Even
I
though,
only need 4 hours of sleep, so I
Oh,
can do
of course,
a
you've
lot
got
of
Fey
gardening and
ancestry.
stuff,
Okay, nice.
even though,
And also, even when you're asleep, you're still like
Alone.
aware.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll be
Fey
great.
ancestry.
I've answered my own question.
Step mushroom.
What are you doing, Steph? Yeah. Okay. So I'd say you guys are able to give me a. So have a long rest, but each of you give me Constitution saving throws. Banana, I'm happy for you to get rid of your. Given that sleep is so like comfortable for you anyway. Cool. Constitution saves.
6.
14.
14.
I don't have to do one.
Oh yeah, because you're not exhausted. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say you can remove your exhaustion point. That's a pretty good sleep. I'd say maybe Gesh has been looking out the doorway, making sure he's comfortable, rocking his little head. To
Yeah.
Add 1 exhaustion point.
Every time you put those mushrooms in Enoch's food, he's been swapping them.
And I'm not going to say that you're not going to gain an exhaustion point, but you're not going to lose one either.
Fine. Okay. And but I still get long
You
rest.
get
And all my
Dragos
health.
back.
All my
I
health
get a
gets
long
back.
rest.
You're always.
How much health have you lost?
Like
He's just like the dad of the group.
You can, when you're in a comfortable situation, you can only go 50% health.
okay.
So yeah.
If you have an exhaustion point on your character when you long rest, you can
You can choose.
you
whether or
can
not
select
get
to
rid of
recover
the
1 exhaustion point.
exhaustion point.
Or have
leave
my
it.
max health.
No, you do both.
You can have either, but if you check the box, it gets rid of the exhaustion
Yeah,
point.
for
If you
you,
don't,
you
then
can
it
only
keeps
go
it.
in this situation.
Oh well,
you
I've
can only
rolled
go
my con save and I
75% max
didn't.
health, by the way,
Fail.
or
So,
So I-
long rest.
Yeah, no,
Right.
yeah, I've got it there. So I'll
Yeah.
unclick
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I'll like fully like recuperate.
Okay.
It's just a mechanic.
How
that I
do you
added.
do that?
Okay. What's you have to just figure
So
it out.
just work it out. So whatever that is. So
Yeah.
Wait, what was that?
you can only get 75% of your health if you're having a long rest in a shitty
So you
area.
don't say long rest, you say.
Oh.
Well, you can do long rest and doesn't matter.
Right,
It's not
so-
sort of thing.
Isn't that a bit? What?
Am I allowed to have full health?
You can have full.
Yeah.
Oh, is that because of your
My Fey ancestry or whatever
Okay.
it's called.
Sleep is a.
And do you always round up a decimal? Do I always round up a
No,
decimal?
round down.
Well,
Round down.
what if it's 0.8?
Round down.
Really?
Always round down.
Round down.
You don't just round down to 0.5,
Okay.
Really?
so-
Yeah, it's always round down in D&D.
but it not just 0.5 because that's like the.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
there's occasional things that you round up on, but it's like related to the ability, not the point, not the decimal you get. D&D doesn't like decimals.
Who does?
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
cool. So I've still got my result. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Like,
That's
that's
it. Get me
Uh,
Flip.
There we go. Right, cool. Happy. Back to that.
Okay, so yeah, you guys are able to have kind of an uncomfortable long rest.
That's annoying that doesn't fucking reset.
You know that you're constantly alert to like creepy crawlies around, and the fizzing of the swamp is actually slightly unnerving, and it packs quite a musty, almost slightly chemically smell. It makes it quite unpleasant to be around for extended periods of time. But you summon Dragos. He's pretty pleased to be back.
To be returned to the material plane.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And I'm guessing morning comes, well, like your relative morning comes around, and you have a bite to eat and go off for your scouts, eh?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll make a point of as soon as we leave the ground, I fly up as high as I kind of can in the cavern, but keep about, I'd say, 30-40 feet off the ceiling.
Sure. Okay. So
And
you
then scout forward.
Yeah, I would say
certainly initially, just as like a safety precaution to essentially prevent getting attacked by any kind of projectile.
I would say that from the height you go to, you can kind of see like a large expanse of the cave because parts of it are glowing. You can see like a large extent of the forest and the mountain that it climbs up to the west. Additionally, you can see the swamp takes on a very, very different characteristics from above. You can see there's all these different shades of different colours which you can never really see when you're on the ground. It seems to be like subtly morphing and moving almost from up here, like very slowly the more you look at it. Give me a perception and also a survival, please.
Okay, perception is 17 and survival is 8.
Okay. I'd say one thing as well, not related to the checks by the way, but you'd notice that as you've kind of got on higher, you found that there's kind of like an acrid, like dense, like chemical stink up here, where all the chemicals seem to have like risen up, and assuming that some of them were probably lighter than air, kind of made their way to the ceiling of the cavern. And from where you are with that perception and the subpar survival, you think you can see like a general route to take. You're not certain that you're definitely going to be able to like recall it when you're on the ground, but it does look like there's patches which are more solid and areas which are more liquid too.
I was going to say like I would have role played something to investigate and build up to those checks, but it's fine.
Oh, fine. Sorry.
No, it's alright. Sorry.
Do you want to do it anyway?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say like certainly initially I'd fly up as high as I can as like a safety precaution, and then like maybe sort of fly over, and then on the way back, then drop considerably lower towards the swamps to be able to get a better look.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be that I would try and be like an eagle looking down. I'd like try and be much lower to try and be able to scout a safe path for us to find a way through the swamp.
Alright, I'd say given like thinking it out like that, give me another survival check. It won't affect loads, but it'll just affect how I'm like how we think.
Oh, okay, cool. 23.
Okay, nice. Yeah. I'd say that you're able to like maybe spend a couple of hours like flying around and really examining different routes and like going to areas and testing the ground, seeing what the floor was like,
cool.
Getting a taste of the whole area. And maybe after a little while you feel like you've picked out a general route which you think you'll be able to roughly remember. Yeah. Which should be able to like cut down the travel time quite a lot. Cool. Okay. Can I just say that Dragos has particularly enjoyed me riding him for this extended period of time? Sure, yeah, nice. So cool. So yeah, you return to the party. What do you say?
Well, it looks to be rather treacherous whichever way we go, but I seem to have found some path that's rather more solid underfoot. So don't follow the lights. And follow my step, but be careful on you must be responsible for your own footing and allow me to lead the way.
Says the guy that set off every mushroom this side of the Red Spore cabin.
Well, feel free to take point if you wish, Enoch.
I polymorph into a bat. And you just hear in your mind going, way ahead of you, buddy.
To be fair, I think you can only do that for an hour, but even so, it's still be quite funny.
It's funny, isn't it?
I'll take a beer.
Yeah,
I'll use my one polymorph charge for the day. It's just like with Kesh.
Such a waste.
As you're flying around, you see a ladybug flies down and goes,
You're not my type, one.
He goes, oh, well, can you check it today?
Oh, yoink.
Right, so yeah, I mean, in fact, just to like add a bit of randomness, you give me another survival check. Can the rest of you
Thank you.
I'll say that you're in battle form, so you don't have to make the checks. We'll say, can each of you give me?
Was this the thing that you got from Elictu?
Yeah.
What is it? Remind me.
Stop them.
Well, you can steal from a corpse, can't you?
What? So what was it?
It was great, Robin.
No, you weren't in the ground.
You weren't.
Mate.
I think it's called
What was
pillaged.
it? What was it?
Pillaged.
Yeah,
I'd say.
I pillaged you.
Yeah.
It's a
Pillage me, daddy.
I thought that was the thing that helped you glide.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Also,
it's
those-
And you,
Plunder my
sick.
cave.
That's fucking sick. So I got 19 for the survival.
19. In fact, it probably makes sense for the two of you to do survivals as well. Actually.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Do we do them with advantage because we're working together?
Nah.
No. Nice.
Sure, it's not like athletic or something.
Yeah.
Did I have to do something?
Yeah, do a survival.
Survival.
12.
12. It's just more fun with a chance of failing, and there's no real consequence.
Well, I also got 5.
You got 12.
I also got 5. Yeah, but his is +7.
No, it's not.
You guys find
Swing and a
that as you're plodding along, Gesh is kind of, especially on. Would you be like saddled on Dragos, like riding, or would you be walking? Next to him?
Not while we're navigating the swamp. No.
Maybe it'll just
Like
be flying with
I
it.
think
Says you like fly ahead and you can like show us where we're going.
Well, he's like literally
Yeah.
doing his footing.
I'm trying to show the safe footing. Like I would have Dragos would be taking point and like sort of like sniffing
Jumping
and
on
trying to
soft
sense
bits
like
and seeing if
the
it's
yeah,
there,
and
yeah.
just double check
Mhm.
as the path that we think we found, just absolutely trying to make sure it's safe, and then me sort of
keeping an eye on people at the back. making
yeah,
sure
and
no
him
one
sort of
falls
like squawking at me, and he and I sort of communicating to give direction through the swamp, and then I'll make a point of trying to have knowing that Enoch's very light-footed, and also that Dorwin can handle himself. I'll make a point of having Polana right behind me, sort of trying to usher her through with all of her armor and
in.
shit.
You walk away, maybe.
Yeah, so you find.
My tail just slaps you
That's
in
right. I
the
can be
face.
sexist too.
Yeah, you've got to give it back.
So you find that even with Gesh's instruction, there's one or two times where you kind of like put your foot into like more squelchy stuff, but you're kind of like able to pull yourself out. Maybe Gesh like gives you a hand every once in a while. Dorwin, I'd say because you're quite like light-footed, rather than like falling into the swamp anywhere, I'll say that your first survival check is maybe at one point you get like particularly interested in a in like a certain plant or something catches your focus, and like you go to touch it, and it kind of this little like harpoon fires out and deals a couple of points of damage as you feel a little bit of poison in your finger. Yeah, a little thin one like those snails.
I was right to be interested.
Yeah, it's a super interesting plant. You find that the second it did, it kind of like tried to close its what looked like petals or sepals around your hand, but you were kind of able to pull your hand out of the way before it did that. It was pretty gross.
Could I make an attempt to try and pick any of these plants?
I would say at the moment you're probably like
Too
more
focused,
on like,
okay.
trying to get everyone through this swamp.
Okay.
We were like following Gash, we're like, he starts like, Gash, what? It's like, oh no, it's that way.
Or like seeing a plant like just trying to attack you, I turn around and go, ooh, a potion opportunity.
Yes.
Pardon me. So, what are you laughing at?
I was laughing at the flute.
Oh, I thought
You ain't funny, boy.
You're not, but
Jeez, easy laughs. Okay, yeah, and I'll say that after this period of travel, you're able to like avoid some pretty sketchy areas and make your way through the swamp. And then you find that after a while, the elevation begins to sort of slowly increase, and the swamp gets left behind, and you're instead greeted by a sort of shaly, pebbly rock. Which seems to extend on a very gentle slope all the way up to the far end of the cavern. As you guys are kind of searching this whole area, knowing that you're in a bit of a dome that's maybe like 5 miles across or something like that. After searching the area for a little while, you eventually find a rather unassuming, quite pleasant-looking log cabin. Just sort of in the middle of nowhere, really.
Sorry? It's a tiny.
It's a regular hut. As you approach,
Well, this looks rather out of place, I must say. Let's investigate further.
As you approach, you notice that it's actually got sort of cultivated land around it as well, with various plants growing. And as you're getting closer, you notice that the plants it's kind of a feast to even see. None of them are mushrooms. And you notice that there's one of these little dwarven glowstones kind of casting a light on this area of cropland. Round one side of the log cabin, you can see there's two people sat on chairs. What they seem to be sort of chatting away.
Is this the appropriate music for this interaction?
Yeah, maybe this isn't as creepy anymore.
No, I was going to say this. You're describing a really nice scene.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, we were just in the creepiest part of the whole world.
Come on.
DJ.
No, it was just that when that like that viola or whatever
That's
just
particularly
hit.
creepy song.
Yeah, it just hit, and then you're like, oh, this lovely light. It's got the light. It's like, that's better.
As you approach, you see very clearly the form of a Dragonborn person who's wearing quite nice robes, and he seems to be kind of chatting away. He's got a staff which he's holding in his hand, even though he's in this chair. And sat next to him is this individual who's probably not looking super interested, but is rather just chatting away. Would you like to describe what these people guys say?
Okay, so in the other chair, so chatting to this Dragonborn, you see a person who, sort of the height of a dwarf, you can kind of tell it's a dwarf at this point. And she, whereas most dwarfs you might have encountered are fairly like well groomed, they take a lot of pride in their kind of their look. She isn't necessarily that. She's got kind of dark, like mahogany kind of coloured hair, and in it you can see that it's kind of twisted and braided with leather straps down, and there's sort of the odd sort of feather in it. There's a little cuttlefish shell hanging down by one ear. She's got a band across her head with a very delicately carven kind of antlers. Carved into it from here. She's
In the band,
in the band, so it's a band.
not in your head.
Not in my head.
In the band.
It's been put there.
Who says this is me? She's wearing sort of fairly battered leather armour, and she has a collar of kind of seal skin going around here. And she's wearing those what are they called, like kind of, what are they called? What in the olden days? What women? Yeah, I think jumpers. What people use to protect themselves from mud when they're horse riding. She's got kind of like a dark kind of almost kind of oaky joggers on, and she looks a bit out of place in this very like domestic setting, but she's sort of there. As she said, politely making conversation. And there's a staff down by her as well, but she's just got hers on the ground. She's not kind of got it prone as well.
Do female dwarves in D&D have beards?
They can, but they don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does she have a beard?
I hadn't thought about it. She might have some rough stubble growing.
I hated that in Rings of Power where the dwarven women just don't look like dwarven women.
But they weren't going to do like full.
They
beard.
fucking should have done. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
I'd say that as they're approaching, I'd say that you probably spot them before Monsenor. What's your reaction?
This figure kind of gets out of her seat and goes, right, what sort of time do we call this then? I've been waiting for weeks for you guys to get here.
Are you Moggs and all?
No, this is Monsenor. If you want to talk with him, but look at the sorry lot of you. The brave travellers, the scourge of the red smile, that's what I thought was coming, and I've got you.
I'm going to go and, in my back form, just go right behind her, transform into Enoch, and just pat her on the back and just go, well, we're all here now.
Fucking hell.
How did you know we were coming?
Aye, that is a long story. I'm guessing you guys want to rest your feet for a while.
Well, it's easy for you to sit there and insult us, young lady, but you have not fought the beast of lightning breath in these caverns, and we have just had to encounter it.
Hold on. You battled Sparky?
and I guess.
How did you fare? It's very rare anyone's able to cross him.
Guess bows deeply to seeing another Dragonborn and says, "You must be Mogsnor."
Yes.
Yes.
That's me.
Sparky, his name. Yes, he was quite a handful.
Yes, he's a difficult one to manage, but he's kept me safe thus far. Although, what's your name?
Oh, Rudy.
Rudy. Well, as far as Rudy has told me, your arrival here has been quite important. Had I known, I probably would have come out and greeted you across the swamp, shown you a good path, perhaps.
Well, we had no means of contacting you, and the beast that was lurking attacked us.
Yes, I'm sure. He's not dead, is he?
We all just look and...
Look at each other.
He just goes, "Oh, do you know how long it took me to tame a bear? Oh, it's the only thing that could have defended me from those foul Crodretek, you know."
Right, well, this is awkward. Sorry, what's his name? Sorry, Moxonol, I didn't know they'd bring such trouble.
Look, it's okay. It was bound to happen at some point. Let's go inside. There's things we need to discuss.
How do your friends come visit? if that attacks everyone.
He says, "Well, you may be surprised to know, but I actually prefer to have no visitors at all."
Alright, you've made that perfectly clear, thank you.
Oh no,
seems that
your,
way.
your company has actually been quite pleasant. Although, yeah, but as for others, well, people who could reach me, most of them would rather see me dead.
Well, do you understand that makes things quite difficult for us? You say if we were to contact you first, you could have come and met us, but yet you don't like no visitors or any communication with the outside
Are you
world.
aware that I owe you nothing?
Yes.
Then let's go inside and have some tea.
Right, had some trouble with the guard dog.
As you guys go inside, you see he's got a large kettle brewing on a fire at the far end of his hut. In here, he's got a bed and a couple of desks and some bookshelves with books and a couple of chests around, shelves with pots and pans. Everything's fairly neat, fairly minimal as well. He seems to just kind of live out his days here quite peacefully. He says, so Rudy's mentioned something or other about you needing to get in touch with this old cult then.
Right, I'm not sure how much you guys know. I'm sorry. Let me start from the beginning. Sorry, you're not we anymore. Oh, God. Sorry, milady, what were you saying?
That's what I was
Right. Sorry, you've no reason to trust me, you've no reason to know me. My name's Rudy Van Stoutail. You can call me Rudy, please do. I've got a really important message I've been trying to get to you. But where have you been?
Kill it, Sparky. I'm so sorry, Rudy. I haven't introduced myself yet. My name is Polana Emerald, and I kind of curtsy to you. So can I just ask, how did you get past Sparky?
Oh, me and old Sparky, we got quite the connection. No, I didn't have any
Turn to
trouble.
an animal.
Yeah, I've got my ways.
Alright, fair enough.
Right, what about the rest of you? I was expecting two wee gnomes and a blue bard. I don't see everyone here.
And I take off my hat and say, Tide didn't make it. Neither did the other one.
sorry to hear that. Well, like I say, I'm not here for a jolly. I do have some rather upsetting news for you.
Anything worse than the death of Sparky?
Sorry, we shouldn't laugh.
You really shouldn't.
Sorry,
Mogdenor.
I'm going to call you Monty. Sorry, Monty. Right. Well, I don't know if you've got things to say to each other before I launch into this, but...
No, your message is quite important. Our conversation can wait.
Right, so I came to know you guys from your wee pal, the blue fella with the scales, Khazal, I believe his name was. He's got a really important message for you. He said, let me remember. Right. The city of Coolin Cress is being attacked by the cult of Croconis. Does that mean anything to you?
Well, this is considerably upsetting news. You don't know. You don't know. And you don't know either, do you?
Not Croconis.
No, you don't know about Coolincrest, though, do you?
No, we met
Oh,
in
we met in
Coolin
Coolincrest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Was it?
Was
Like,
it
you've
all
been
the
with
way?
it for long
Fucking
enough.
hell! I thought it was like south, and then like we just. Okay, cool. Yeah, south.
Oh dear. Poor Coolincrest.
I got the impression he wants you to help.
But he also wants us to be here.
Right, are you the leader of the group?
Ah, well,
I didn't say so, but people have said it to that.
Wow, Master Poirus really must be an aid. Yes, certainly myself and maybe some of the other party would certainly prioritise returning to aid.
Like, I mean, I'm new to this, but I get the impression they're attacking because they think you guys are there. So
Maybe we shouldn't go there.
idiots. Well, that's certainly troubling news. I do have a strong desire to go and help out old Vanar.
Sorry, can I ask, who is this Coolincrest?
Coolincrest was the origin of our bringing together of our original party. It's in the Nundek Fields to the west of the Scales, in the beautiful grassland area.
Ah.
Where did you hail from, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm from the Feywild.
Oh, the Fey! I love it. It's not about you.
Yes. Well, I don't know much about this Coolincrest. I've rarely busied myself with any business outside of the Scales, and well, I've been in this cave for I don't even remember how long. I can't tell you what you must do, but I should definitely inform you that if you are in any way capable of stopping what the cult of Croconis can do, then you must do that with most urgency. They're a plague on this world, and I'm speaking from experience.
Okay. Well, if you've got such a history of them, you know how badly we need to defeat them. Will you help us in our journey?
Yes. I'll tell you everything I know. I must tell you something that you may find troubling. I was once a cult member myself.
That was Cora, no.
After hearing messages from Orenthor's body, I was one of the ones examining him decades ago. He was able to help me see the truth of the world, and with that I left post haste. However, the cult were hot on my tails, keen for their secrets never to leave their inner circle. It was where I managed to travel here and hide myself from them until this time. Even your coming here, as you can imagine, is a challenge for me to accept. However, this issue isn't going to go anywhere unless people are able to learn of
their true goals.
Well, Orenthor still currently holds you in good stead, and we feel him to be a true moral compass, so his judgment is enough for us also.
I'm glad of that. It's hard looking back on the things that had happened during my time there, but if Orenthor speaks well of me, that is...
When did you last communicate with him?
With Orenthor, I have had smatterings of his conversation for, well, on and off for years, although more recently I've been getting more frequent messages. I found it most difficult to contact him myself, though. It's rare I've been able to converse in any capacity, but nonetheless, he had prepared me for somebody's arrival. I now see that somebody as you.
Yes, and I say, as proof that we are who we say we are, I open up my pack and I take out the gem from the tomb and say, this is how we've been communicating with Orenthor on our travels.
You see he, holding the tea kettle, his eyes kind of widen, and he kind of like walks over to where you guys are, sat around this table. And he places the tea kettle down and just kind of tentatively reaches forward. And you see that before he actually touches it, he kind of like looks around a bit and then winces slightly. Give me insights just to see what you reckon about that.
Fuck's sake.
9. Same.
I really want to roll high on that one because he's fucking Dragonborn as well.
18?
18, yeah. So, Polana, you get the impression that he's sort of running through old memories in his mind as he's about to do this, and he's kind of hesitant, perhaps thinking about the things he's done in the past. He places his hand.
What does he look like, by the way? You just said he was an old man sitting on a.
He's a white Dragonborn.
He's white.
Yeah, he's white. He's the pale scarlet. Yeah, sorry, I thought I was describing him.
No, because
Yeah,
we
he's a
would
pale-
change the music and then
Oh,
stopped.
it's
and
fine,
then
sure.
got
Yeah,
introduced.
he's a very, very bright white Dragonborn with like crystal blue eyes. He looks old. Some of his scales are kind of like folding and they're all like deteriorated. You see as well that he kind of he holds himself quite humbly, but you sense that he's got quite a lot of power about him as well. His teeth are still. He seems to like keep his teeth in good stead. You see whenever his mouth opens, they're like, you know, they're sharp and deadly as ever. Yeah, his clothing is quite modest but functional. Under his at any point when his robe kind of like passes to one side, you'd see like a plethora of bags and pouches, and you'd see that the inside of his cloak is lined with various pockets as well. Yes, so as he kind of winces before he places his hand on the thing, and you see that the second he does, his whole demeanour just kind of like relaxes, and you see he kind of gets this gentle smile across his face, and you imagine they're having some sort of conversation privately, probably quite quickly because it all takes place in the brain. After a moment or two, he pulls away and says, "Ah, yes, I see. Well, you're most definitely to be trusted. Tea, anyone?"
Absolutely. After all those mushrooms. Thank you, sir.
Enoch, was it? He says, he says, "Well, I suppose I should start with what Proconis is actually out here for. They are looking to summon an artifact of some legend. I will tell you of the story of Prodratek. Prodratek was nothing more than a simple man some millennia ago. He was living his life as a simple farmhand for some time, although this was a period of frequent dragon attack, and when his family were entirely destroyed by the attack of a great dragon, he pledged his life to seeking revenge on those who had wronged him. He dedicated his life to learning powerful magics, learning anything he could about the dragons, and with time his power grew. It continued to grow, and with that his greed grew stronger as well. Before long, he was recognised across the lands as one of the most powerful sorcerers known to man. Although nobody quite knows how, he was able to travel to the outer plane where Tiamat lives. It was here, it's said, that he faced off with her entire court of the most legendary chromatic dragons ever to have existed on the material plane or otherwise. It was here that Tiamat looked down on him, but also seemed to recognise his power. The court, however, simply laughed at his requests and his demand that the chromatic dragons leave the material plane for all eternity. When they could not grant him his wish, they attacked. It's said that he was able to hold them off, the entire court, on his own. And he looked up at Tiamat, the many-headed dragon, and clutched his hand closed, and with that stole 5 small pieces of her soul. He embodied these soul pieces into a mask which he donned. This mask allowed him to have complete control over every chromatic dragon in the court, and before he was able to wreak too much havoc, Tiamat banished him to the material plane, inhibiting his movement from ever leaving. And with that, his soul was trapped within the mask itself, and it's said that anybody who was able to acquire such an artifact would gain this power, the power to control the chromatic dragons. As you can imagine, this is not something that we can allow to occur to anybody in today's world. For the chromatic dragons, although they battle with the dwarves, if they were to turn their envy on anyone other than those, to the people who are unprepared, the chaos would be unimaginable. And that's why I must seek your aid with this, and why you must continue your quest.
So he's trying to summon the mask
That's correct.
from the thing.
And whoever should lay claim to this mask would become Prototech themselves.
Wait, who's trying? Wait, what? Sorry, who's trying to?
Give us the accent.
Wait, I've got some questions. Wait. Sorry, I was typing. So Prototech's mask. Who wants the mask now?
So it's the cult of Croconus themselves.
Oh, not an individual, just the cult.
It is the cult, but we do have a leader, and we do refer to some. I had a leader.
Yeah.
There is a leader. Old habits. I don't see There is a leader of the cult, and they do call this individual Prototech. I've never seen them myself. However, the true title should not fully be appointed until the mask was worn.
Right.
Right, so we don't know who this guy is, it's just Prototech, because he's like the guy who...
He was secret even to me, and I achieved moderate rank in the cult myself.
Well, that's.
So you're a moderate scumbag.
So I must say that isn't that somewhat blasphemous of this leader of theirs to give himself the name Krojotech when he is not yet.
Well, that is how some people feel, although those people do not exist for much longer once expressing that sentiment.
But currently, the power of this leader is no way near matching what Krojotech was a millennia ago.
No, those were early days. The magic was more chaotic and fearsome and powerful. There's not a sorcerer alive who could match the power of Krojotech.
If you don't mind me asking, we haven't covered this in one of our previous conversations. What attracted you to the cult in the first place?
Says I was part of the cult from the day I was born. As are any of the cult members that they have. You would see that most of them are Dragonborn, as most of them are kidnapped from the scales themselves as younglings.
How many do you think there are?
How many are there?
Yeah.
Well, by now the cult spans across the entirety of the scales. Their numbers into the thousands.
How?
Can I just say, like, with you saying that they can mostly consist of Dragonborn. Like Gesh is like visibly like quite shocked and alarmed at that fact.
Mm.
How long ago did you leave?
I left. It's hard to keep track of time in here, but I would estimate around 2 decades ago.
And you said Orenthor convinced you to leave.
Orenthor did convince me to leave. You see, we'd all been trying to contact him once we'd recovered his body in the tomb. They'd been researching him for a long time even before then. Although I came across a significant piece of information, and little did I know Orenthor had been slowly learning what he could from us throughout our interactions while giving us nothing. His soul is more powerful than anything we had encountered in the past. When he had learned that I had this piece of information, he said that I had to leave for the sake of he convinced me to leave for the sake of the good of the world.
This information is knowing about the true aim of Draconis.
In a way, you see, to summon the mask, there's a specific ritual that needs to be undertaken. To begin with, there is a legendary gem that it is rumoured the cult had acquired when I was there. Whether they have or not is something I'm unaware of. But there is a gem known as the Eye of Tiamat. With this gem, a ritual should take place under the skull of an ancient dragon, and no ordinary ancient dragon, a dragon from the beginning of time. And there is a specific clan of Dragonborn. Their bloodline runs pure and thick back to their first origins. It is said that if you were to sacrifice a substantial number of these individuals under the skull of the ancient dragon, beholden to the gem, beholden to the Eye of Tiamat, then the mask will be summoned. The information that I had is the location of these Dragonborn. They live in the Drovnar Peaks, a place lost to time. I was able to come across this knowledge, and should they ever find this place, they'll be able to find the Dragonborn themselves.
So they're still there? They live there?
They live there indeed. Yes, it is their birthright, their home.
Would Gesh have heard of?
So you guys have all actually heard of the Drovnar Peaks, except for Lana.
From the song.
From the song!
Yeah.
Would Gesh know where they? Would Gesh know where they are? Like, obviously
Nobody
heard
knows
of
where
them.
Drovnar
Okay, no,
Peaks
no,
is.
it is.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
So he's come across this information.
But he knows
No
the
clues
location.
is-
Oh, okay.
40 miles east of
Yeah.
First letter of each line is like, go
Turn
up.
left. That's it. Yeah.
And so, go on. Oh, and so, Orenthor's ancient remains were going to be the sacrificial location. Was that the intent of the cult?
No, there is a
Or
there
is
is
there
a temple.
Oh.
There is a temple built specifically for this purpose. I'm afraid I do not know the location myself. It was never revealed to me. But it's said it's here that the ritual will take place.
And this temple has a dragon in it already?
I have heard
We
this is
think?
the location of one of these most ancient skulls, yes.
Oh,
So
so
the entire temple is built around the artifact.
my apologies. Orenthor's remains would not be used for this ritual. No.
We were the sole reason for our research into Orenthor was to try and understand how he was able to break the curse of the gem all those years ago.
So, is Orenthor not considered a powerful enough ancient dragon to be used?
He was not created.
Is Orenthor actually a beta?
I mean, he's not an OG,
Oh, no.
but he's pretty henny. Orenthor was not delivered to the material plane with the dragons that were as one of the first dragons to be sent here.
And you said Orenthor was able to shake the control. Do you know how Draconis were able to acquire this control in the first place?
Yes, there are several places in the world that have been able to manufacture the arcane gems that I'm sure you've seen, that you hold in your hand with Orenthor. Once a dragon is subdued, they are forced to undergo a grueling process where their mind is slowly broken over the course of many decades. When they are reduced to very little, the gem is fused with their chest, and with that their spell takes hold, and they are subject to those who have put them through the ritual itself.
I thought Khazal had been through the ringer, yeah.
Yes.
And do you know how Orenthor escaped? How he broke the curse?
This was the nature of our research. We were trying to make contact with Orenthor and try and learn whatever secrets we could. Although clearly his stoicism is to a level that we could not have possibly anticipated, nor one that we were able to dissect. The fact that he is here now is a great relief to me, as I'm sure he was I can say for fact that he was subject to all manner of foul breaches of privacy.
Can you also tell us where and how to get to the Drovnar Peaks?
I can. The Drovnar Peaks are in the south.
Let me go for a piss quick.
Let me get my map.
It's going to be the bottom of the scales, isn't it? There's fucking loads of dragons.
Probably.
That's why nobody's been there, nobody's found them.
So he says.
What Will said.
He says the Drovnar Peak is found some ways north of Mount Nagron. This is the home of Aziraphx, the great worm.
I'm spelling that.
Aziraphx. Aziraphx. He says.
Sounds like a drug.
Drovnar Peaks is, while initially appears an unassuming mountain, it can only be reached by those with the ability to fly, and the mountain itself is cut off completely flat. Part of the reason why it's so inaccessible is that the Dragonborn of pure blood, well, they're of a different nature to other Dragonborn that you may have encountered in the past. Magic flows strong through their veins. Each one of them are what the common people may call sorcerers. With that, they've been able to hide themselves.
Can I say, can we wait until he gets back?
Yeah, let's wait.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
cheers.
give him a piss as well. Yeah, he likes Dragonborn as well.
What did I miss? Where is it?
Here's your coffee.
North of Mount Nagron.
I'm here for a week.
The Drovnar Peaks are in the scales?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
We
Okay.
don't have to do the scales, baby.
I mean, that's fucking huge, though.
And he said they can't be accessed apart from by flying. The peak is like cut off flat, and also
How long do you reckon bats can fly?
You've got an hour.
He said it wasn't particularly high.
yeah,
He said it was cut off.
but also the Dragonborn of that pure bloodline that can be sacrificed.
yeah.
They're like particularly odd and sorcery, and they've like hidden themselves with magic up there. So it's like a secret place. And also, it's where Aziraphx lives, the great worm.
Great worm.
Yeah.
What, in like the valley surrounding
Who knows?
the Drovnar Peaks, or within the what? Yeah.
Have to ask.
It's just a fucking big world.
I'm,
You get up to Drovnar Peaks, they're like, "You found us! Look!"
I'm imagining like one of the worms out of like Dune or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like, or did you ever play? Is it Gears of War 2? Is it Gears of War 3?
Oh, the ones that come out of the ground.
They're like-
Oh no, the big boy.
The fucking massive ones that have got
yeah,
like
yeah,
5
yeah.
hearts, and you have to like go inside the worm and kill the worm from the inside.
Yeah. Yeah, they like fucking yeah, go through the massive tunnels that are all underground that no one knew about. Freaky.
Are they backstory or something?
No, just toilet.
Are they both
toilet? So just grab something. What are you making, by the way?
Sticky chicken.
Sticky chicken.
Sticky chicken.
Sticky chicken.
Sticky chicken.
That's so satisfying.
It's like sort of Asian style
It's like a
chicken,
that's really sticky.
but it's like sticky
It's
and
It's
tasty.
a live chicken. Isn't it? Sticky as
That's
well.
what
What was the bottle that was like you were heating up the bottle?
So in one of the in honey goes like all weird and honeycomby and old.
Yeah.
If you just heat it up, it goes back to normal honey. So I was just like.
But it's weird, isn't it? Yeah, like if you heat it up and then it cools back down, it stays as liquid despite the fact that it's cooled back down again.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird.
It's really strange.
Honey, right?
It's true. It's good.
And the way it's sticky is by having lots of honey in it.
Oh, it sounds good.
So I need the honey.
got you.
That's the. Wasn't just like, but clean out this honey.
Oh my god, I just tapped that by accident and rolled nat 20.
You're getting into
Control Z. Control Z.
Save that one for next time. What are you? Oh, you're looking at Rift Worm.
I'm trying to find any sense of scale.
There, so
There you go.
there you go.
Yeah.
A Rift Worm out of Gears of War.
But it might be like this worm. This worm is great.
Great, like.
He's fucking sick, mate.
Yeah,
He's
capital
cool.
G or double
He is a capital G. Yes.
That one there looks more like the one out of
Yeah.
Dune.
Oh wait, which one?
No, that one you were just on before.
Where was I?
No,
You
you,
haven't just yet, did you?
that one there. You
This
just
one.
click that one.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It looks really small there for some reason.
Oh, that's cool. Ooh. Did you like the film?
Oh yeah, I love the film.
Have you seen Dune?
I did, yeah.
What do you think?
I did enjoy it. I
It's
have to
slow,
say,
isn't
have
it?
you read Dune?
No. It's
So it's
fucking
like
huge.
it's huge, and the problem I have with the book was that it was way too like almost like nerdy in the sense that every single detail was explained to the nth degree. A bit like reading Lord of the Rings, but like it's like
But more.
but
is it?
more like
Yeah.
anyone interested in this would have to be so interested in it.
Right.
And the film kind of did a really good job of like emulating that. That it was just really like there wasn't enough like kind of human contact, like that kind of stuff that makes films interesting. It's
Yeah.
just like here's a new world and you just have to
And you just
Yeah.
gotta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I did enjoy it.
Because I read a lot of the stuff because he wanted to be like quite true to the books because he liked them, but he said apparently he like cut out a lot of the human emotional part of
No,
it
but
because
see,
that was
that's
like
the- it's
in
like-
people's heads and like
yeah, exactly.
people talking isn't that interesting
Yeah.
apparently. So
Also, so like I went with my friend who has quite a lot of like sensitivity to sounds and stuff.
Oh my
people are
god,
like,
because it's
Mm.
quite,
It's
it's
so
quite,
loud,
it's
it's
so
so
atmospheric.
loud.
And it's, yeah. Oh my god.
It was just it was a lot.
I remember when I went to go and sit in the cinema, we literally sat in the front row, and I was like, oh my god, it's so
It was
loud.
so tense.
well, the first time we watched it, it was hella quiet.
Oh, I didn't watch it with you guys.
Oh,
no,
yeah, of course.
I like, you guys were all gonna go, and then I ended up.
There was a
going.
problem with the cinema.
Oh really?
Yeah,
So
the,
it
Yeah,
was
the
actually
cinema
bad.
was
speakers weren't
really
working. couldn't
shit.
couldn't hear anyone talking at all. It was just the like yeah.
Oh, that's annoying. But no, I'm definitely like watch the second one. Because also I didn't know it was going to be 2 films. So
No,
I
I
was
think
like,
it's gonna
oh.
even be 3, isn't it?
Oh, is
What's
it?
Is it June?
June.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, there's like 7 books, right? It's a huge.
Is
fucking
there
Yeah,
7?
but this is
Yeah,
only
yeah.
going to be the first. Like,
But this isn't even the first book, right?
No,
Yeah,
it's
they
the
haven't-
first
yeah.
half of the first book.
Right.
Or like 2/3 ish.
Mm.
But yeah, they didn't. I think it's definitely got another one. It might have got another 2 now, but they were going to leave it until see how well it did, and then
Seems to have done pretty well.
yeah.
I think it helps that
400 million.
like all of the girls that I've spoken to about
400
Dune
million.
absolutely fucking love Timothy
Is that just
Chalamet as
the-
well. I
Oh,
don't
well,
know
yeah,
if he...
casting him as Paul.
Just says box office.
Funniest fantasy name ever.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully, like
I
Winston
thought it
Dunn's
was a bit
character is in it as well. It'll be a bit more like Yeah, just a bit more about real people rather than just like.
I thought the like the little like the scene where Paul has to fight against the, I can't remember their name, the Sand people. He has to fight against their. He's like.
Oh, like towards the end where it's like.
Where he fights their gladiator or whatever, because he
Yeah.
challenges
Yeah,
him to a fight to the death. It was so good.
Yeah. Have you haven't read the book? You would fucking love it.
Yeah, I bet I would. Actually,
It's one
it would
of
take me probably
potentially
about
the best
3
book I've
years
ever
to
read.
read it though.
I listened to the book.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's potentially one of the best books I've ever listened to.
It's mad that Avatar's still the highest grossing film
Is it?
to this day.
Infinity War. Oh no, because they like re-released it or something.
That's
And
crazy.
then it went back up.
Why was it fucking? I don't.
No, December.
It was good, but I
Yeah.
don't understand how it was that popular.
Yeah, and it's like stayed as well, you know.
Yeah.
Like-
now it's like too late.
That's
Yeah.
crazy that Avengers is
It's
so.
like-
Oh mate,
It's
all the
a
Avengers are
lie.
like on here somewhere.
It's nothing. It's like it's.
Like,
Incredibles 2 did so well.
Yeah. I mean, the story's quite.
Mate, it's
basic,
so
but I
much of
think
this is
in
Marvel,
terms
that's
of, like,
crazy.
the
I know.
world they build is quite cool. And it looks
Fast and
amazing.
Furious 7. No, it's such a bad fucking film.
Shows how much
I think one
marketing
of the
just
big-
like
Oh
works.
my
good.
god, it's so shit. The Fate and the Furious. What's that? That must be.
That shift between, like, we
What?
haven't seen a film like that before.
Yeah, yeah.
What the fuck is that? Fast and Furious 8.
Came out after.
Wait, is this the
Oh
top
my
grossing
God.
films of all time?
Yeah,
So
And-
what's on there? Fast and Furious 7.
the Fate of the Furious,
Oh,
the sequel to Need for Speed 7 or whatever it is, Fast and Furious 7.
Wait, so you've got 2 Fast and Furious films.
Yeah.
Grossing.
They're
That
both
is
of them.
So disappointing.
The both of them are in the top 20.
Mate, Top Gun Maverick's almost top 10.
Really?
Yeah.
That
To be
surely
fair,
is like
apparently,
nostalgic.
apparently it was actually really good.
Yeah, I
A lot of
heard
people
that
said
too.
it's actually like really solid.
Yeah,
as
I've
a
never
film.
seen Top Gun.
You never seen Top Gun?
No, I'm not.
But
Happy to see Harry Potter there.
Fucking hell, Star Wars The Force Awakens is 4th.
That I understand.
Yeah.
Because
the
Not
film
sure,
was
it was the
hype
reboot,
around
yeah,
it.
fair.
And
Not
because of the
seen that
first one as well, nobody had been let
Mm.
down by the other one.
Fucking hell, Jurassic World is 7th, peaked at 3.
so basically,
So
like,
gash.
they're all.
Three.
So
This isn't a
gash.
judgment on that kind of film, but they're all
Yeah.
big blockbuster.
They're all
big
Yeah.
shitty.
They're
Yeah.
all American.
This is like-
They're all.
Yeah.
This is top grossing films of all time.
The thing
Is
that I
Titanic
find
still
amazing.
Oh, Titanic's
Yeah, Titanic's
third.
third.
Titanic's not that.
Yeah.
All of these films, apart from Titanic, are post like 2010.
Yeah.
So they've all had modern marketing to like.
It's kind of nice that cinema's still that strong.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
there was a point where we all
Yeah,
thought it was a dying industry.
How the fuck is
I
Dark
wonder
Knight Rises
how-
higher than The Dark Knight? Dark Knight's not even on there.
I
what I mean.
wonder
Dark Knight Rises, I
how
see, yeah.
films have
Wait,
got
that's
straight to,
Good
like,
film,
Netflix.
but
That's the good one.
Mm.
How do they make
do you think
it
that's
work?
better than Dark Knight?
Because like they're a
The second
big,
one?
big
That's the
blockbuster.
third
Like,
one.
Martin Scorsese's
Oh, is it?
last film
Oh.
Yeah, you've
was
got Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark
Ah,
Knight
yeah.
Rises.
No, I don't
I
know.
don't know
I think
do they
Netflix
get a cut
pays
of-
for it.
Yeah,
But
so Netflix
Netflix-
I wonder
They
if,
don't.
because the second
They
one was
don't
so
have
good,
that much money.
when
So
They
they
then
get
got
paid
that
more.
hype.
there was so much hype, they're like, oh, the one after this is great,
So
and so everyone went to
how
cinema
do
for
they
it.
make it?
Whereas the second one, they were like,
There's a whole thing with the-
because I don't think this will include like streaming and stuff, like,
It's about
you know,
streaming,
it's
whether-
pure,
like whether or not to go into
you know,
cinemas
cinema
or
and
watch
buying the
streaming,
thing.
because they got a cut of the profits, and then
Right.
they decided to do Disney Plus exclusive,
That's
like
mad.
that thing,
Dark Knight,
and
49.
then a limited cinema.
Oh, there you go.
release, which was like, well, no, I'm gonna make
Not
way
too
more
far
money.
off then.
Yeah,
And that kept
1
happening.
billion,
So
that's
then
so
you make
good.
more money in the cinemas.
yeah.
I don't know how Netflix like compensate their actors and
Yeah,
directors
yeah.
and stuff for that.
I don't know how they can keep paying for like massive.
So weird.
Yeah.
There's only 2 Harry Potter films on here. The
Well,
first
Deathly
one
Hallows
and the last one.
The first one. That's
Philosopher's
so
Stone
shocking.
is 48th, and Deathly Hallows
What-
Part 2
what
is
is
15th.
this all-time money earned, or is this
Worldwide gross ever.
Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Total
Yeah.
income.
From cinema release or from just.
Cinema, and I assume buying the DVD or whatever,
Yeah.
or buying it
But not
online.
like
I guess everyone like, but like
And
if a
They must like
channel.
say streaming counts or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or does that just
If
not
it streaming
count?
counts, then Harry Potter fair play because people watch
Because
it.
you get royalties if you get streamed, right?
Yeah, you do.
You do get like a quid or some shit.
This is
No,
what
so I
it
think
depends on the
to
contract.
Maybe
have a
depends.
streaming site would pay to
Ah,
have
the
the
rights
thing
to
on their
have the
streaming
thing.
site, but the number.
Well, it's
of
not like
viewers
YouTube
is
then.
actually like,
Okay.
yeah, you don't.
Fair.
Like, that's my
Yeah.
tentative understanding.
Yeah, probably.
And that's
It
why
might
it'll get,
depend
like,
on the.
taken off and stuff at some points because they'll buy it for a certain amount of time.
Oh my god, Star Wars Episode 1 is on there.
Any other Star Wars?
But
films?
again,
oh, you Rise of
that's very funny that
Skywalker,
it's- So wait, Rise of Skywalker and Phantom Menace.
Force Awakens.
Well,
Which
I
one's
got
Force
that, but not the other
Awakens?
one.
Well, no, so there's Force Awakens, The Last
Which is
Jedi.
fourth of all time.
Yeah, so it's like the two
The two
two
first
brand new
before
ones.
They realised it was shit and stopped because
Yeah.
the second and third in each new trilogy then earn a lot less money. 'Cause they
Yeah,
were
I see. Yeah.
So the Force Awakens, is that number 7? Episode 7?
is the first one of the new ones. Yeah. Have you guys watched Andor?
No, I haven't
really
yet.
Good.
Oh,
I've
really?
heard really good things.
No,
about
I
it,
haven't
yeah.
heard anything.
Yeah.
Rogue One's on here as well.
Rogue One's fucking sick.
Rogue One is, probably one of my favourite Star Wars.
Mm.
Oh, because it was really nice the way it was like bookended.
Yeah.
And the new.
It was like because it was in between, wasn't it in between like episode 3 and 4?
Yeah.
And it was like because it was on the planet that the Death Star destroyed.
Yeah.
It was like beginning and an end, and everybody fucking died. And
they're
I
not,
thought
they're not setting anything up. For
yeah,
it.
they're not like
It's more
leaving you with
complete story,
cliffhangers and stuff. It's
yeah.
just like everyone's died.
Yeah.
The new Aladdin with Will Smith is on here.
See, that's what's
And
so-
Despicable Me 3. Mate, it's
I mean,
all,
it's
it's
obviously
literally
the best of
all
the Despicable
marketing. I
Me.
think it's just marketing to kids. That's
Yeah.
what gets it. Because
The
like only kids
Hobbit
go
is
to the
on
fucking
there.
cinema, really.
Oh my god, Zootopia.
Oh, that was pretty good.
How-
Yeah, that was really good.
How far down is Lord of the Rings?
There's only
haven't
Return of the
seen it.
King on here.
What number is that?
It's quite.
Yeah, it's 26th.
That's crazy. To say that, yeah, I would say that's one of the biggest films ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I have another thing, please?
Yeah, it's on the.
Did you get it? I looked, I can't find it.
Oh, it's just on my bedside table. But I can grab it if you like.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Yes, no, yeah.
Just getting.
We're not. I don't think. Mate, we've been sitting chatting about films. I think he's pretty sure he's paused.
No, he hasn't. It's still going.
Oh, we've literally just been. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Is the stream been going whilst we've been
We've just been chatting
Yeah.
about
Just
films.
absolutely been lagging off Jurassic World and.
Mate, imagine we get shitloads of followers and was like, wow, this was really interesting discussion.
Just for our talk about films.
Yeah, it's like a film podcast.
Yeah, go back to D&D. I was like, oh, it's fucking boring. Like 30,000 viewers goes down to 2.
You know what I think strangely? So I very rarely look at Twitch, but I was looking at XQC the other day, watching a place called
I like
Music.
I think it's like the most.
Yeah, he's by
he
far the
had
biggest.
like 70,000 viewers.
Yeah.
And I was like, because so the alternations of rugby's going on at the moment. There's the stadiums are 70 to 80,000 people, and I was like, it's the same number of people. Like just being able to contextualize it.
Yeah.
He's got
Yeah,
a
that's
stadium
so-
full of
that's so
people.
Yeah. Watching him like eat pizza and like
Yeah.
watch YouTube. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah, imagine if you went to like,
fuck with your head.
Yeah.
you know, like Wembley or whatever. I think Wembley's more.
It's like 90.
Yeah, but imagine going there, packed stadium, and there's just a dude sat in the middle.
Yeah.
Watching
Yeah.
videos.
Just on his computer. Everyone's like,
the frog emoji.
Oh my god.
buy my shit coin.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Shall we?
Yeah, let's crack on.
Yeah.
So, Moggs and I just explained. Did you guys tell Al what the last thing he said about?
Oh, we haven't explained the Dragonborn thing.
Okay, sure. So Moggs and
Oh
I.
we have. Yeah, we spoke.
Oh, you have?
I said it.
No, we said.
About them being sorcerers. hiding
Oh, and
themselves
about them
in
being
the
up high and they've got the big worm.
He had,
He's
he had
like,
questions
get
about
out
the
of
worm
fire.
though.
Yeah.
I have questions about the worm. What questions do I have about the worm?
Is it like in the valley or whatever? Or like and how big is it?
Aziraphale lies mostly dormant in Mount Nagron. He is the mind and the captain behind the last few centuries of dragon invasion across the scales. You can think of them as their leader.
Well,
As the dragon's leader.
The worm is the dragon's leader.
The chromatic
Probably.
Dragonborn's leader.
Might be
No,
WYRM.
Not the Dragonborn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I assume.
But the
But-
chromatic dragons were there.
Yeah, the leader of the chromatic dragons. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Is a
On the
worm.
material plane. Worm with a Y, you fucking moron.
Oh!
It's
Like
a worm.
This kind of a worm.
A worm.
Oh,
What
shit.
do you think of giant
It's
people?
like a dragon worm thing.
Is the
I
leader
think
of the
it's like three.
classic dragons.
Yeah.
So can't fucking fly.
They're right on the
Worms,
cusp
they-
already.
No.
They hunt
No, but
cockroaches.
like, how's it?
£3
I
cockroach.
think it's
Fucking
fucking big.
beast.
Yeah. How big is it?
It's said that he lays his whole body taking up the full base of Mount Nagrom itself. Whether he's even capable of leaving the mountains without an eruption is something I'm unsure of.
Rather a large worm then.
He's a very large.
Biggest worm I'd ever seen.
An Alaskan bullworm.
Essentially.
Yeah,
I'm foot in front of them.
And how far did you say? Oh, wait. How far did I-
I mean, yeah, right, Mount
pretend I
Nagrom
said that.
is-
Just north of Mount Nagrom.
Yeah, so you guys are.
Pretty far.
Struggle with this area. It's a full.
I thought I could get on that.
Yeah, I mean, it'd probably be quick to go around, to be honest.
Yes.
Well,
I'll put it in the chat. Oh, I can do that.
So you must excuse me being a
wait,
little
where are we?
slow.
So we're like
This
Jurfidek, Balfidek,
worm
Balkim, Jurkim, we're sort of right here.
protects this
Uh,
Dragonborn people. atop
And
this
all the way
mountain.
down here
Aziraphale
is
has
Mount
nothing
Nagrom.
to do with the
She's gonna drop
Drognar
our peaks to be here somewhere.
It's merely that they are located
So,
in a similar vicinity.
Took us like a week
Is,
or two to get across.
Is Aziraphale
So it's been
aware
like
of
a month or two,
this,
yeah.
this Dragonborn clan?
Depends how
I'm
shit the
sure
terrain is.
Aziraphale is he is a mysterious being. His knowledge and motivations, although I don't doubt, are far spanning, or something that I do not know about myself.
Is this worm sentient?
It's literally a big red dragon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, but like, you know,
Flightless.
flightless.
No,
No.
Well, it's not a worm then.
it's just
Yeah.
his nickname.
It's a worm.
Fine.
He's the red worm. Yeah.
Why did he get that nickname? Huge dog.
It's just simply what the people of the Scales have called him since as long as I can remember. I'm sure he may have other names, but this is what I know him as.
It's like a pet name.
And we must also ask,
You
what
big
do you
worm.
make of the? What do you make of?
Little worm.
What do you make of the cult coming after us?
What do I make of them?
What do you make of it?
What exactly do you mean, my boy?
Well, Rudy here informs us that
Of the attack itself.
of the attack on Kulin Cress.
He says, I wouldn't expect them to have been ready with such a force so soon, but during my time with the cult, they were intent on amassing as powerful force as they could to aid them should situations like this arise. There are unnatural experiments that have taken place, arcane experiments, through the use of rituals involving dragon's blood. The cult are able to create strange amalgamations of regular creatures and with the aspects of dragons. These creatures can occur naturally should a dragon fall in love with another being and choose to spread their being with this other one.
Sorry, just look really pointedly at the dragon.
He says you may have heard of half dragon folk in the past. They are not the same as you or I, Gesh. They can have any manner of strange physiological alterations. However, the cult has figured out a way to create this entirely artificially.
So, wait, how worried do we need to be? Like, on the attack on Kulin Cress, I mean...
If they are not warned, I have no doubt that their town will fall.
Master Poirus is a formidable warrior and very battle hardened, but indeed, if they weren't wary and this was somewhat of a surprise ambush, then I worry for their lives.
Indeed. But nonetheless, I don't doubt that Crodratek are getting the cult of Croconis are getting ever closer to the Drovnar Peaks.
So why have you waited around for 20 years doing nothing?
What would you expect me to do?
If
If I were to leave these caves, there is no doubt in my mind that I would be hunted down and killed by the cult in a matter of days.
And the location of the peaks would be... Oh, wait. I thought you said he had to hide because he knew that these Dragonborn were at the Drovnar Peaks.
Yes. So he knows so just to clarify, he knows the location of the peaks because he was able to, originally decipher this stuff.
Yeah.
From Orenthal.
But they
Oh.
do not know their
Not from
location.
Orenthal.
No, not from. He figured it out himself.
And then and then
Was that
Orenthal
not
told
through
him to-
through clues that Orenthal kind of laid out for him?
No.
No, but once he'd figured this stuff out, it was then Orenthal was like, "Oh, I need to clamp down on this guy and see if I can get him to not share this info."
But-
So the cult, no idea what this is.
But
As far as you know of.
Oh, as far
20
as we
years
know,
ago.
yes, but it was so long ago that time may have elapsed.
Yeah,
maybe on their way.
but the cult do know that this lineage of Dragonborn are at the Drovnar Peaks.
yes.
Ah,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
fine. I
they
thought
know
that was what they
They
did.
just don't know
They
where
don't know
the
where the
Drovnar-
And
Fine.
do they know that Mogzanar knows where the Drovnar Peaks are?
Yes, they do.
Okay,
yeah.
hence him hiding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, and what kind of enemies are?
Now we know we're gonna get
attacking
captured.
Dragonborn as well, or bigger beasts.
So some of the Dragonborn that are part of the cult themselves, I have no doubt, will be leading the armies. Although, in addition to them, there will be beasts, humanoid and otherwise, that have adopted the form of dragons and have been gifted unusual and unnatural powers. That's why they will be such a formidable threat.
Right.
Oh,
Can have a bit of not shit, babe. Thank you.
It's not a nice affair.
That was a Trudy line, that was.
no, I know. I won't actually give it to you.
Yeah.
Really?
No, you said
Trudy.
Trudy.
Reed.
I know I said Trudy.
There is reason for that. It's not.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
What's your full name again?
Hmm?
What's your full name?
Imbriduin?
Broody.
Imbriduin.
Stout ale.
Stout
Oh, nice.
Bless you.
Mogzanar, what do you propose we do next?
Says, well, if it is a difficult decision to be made, one that I would have to leave in your hands. You either save the town and risk the Drovnar Peaks from being compromised, although they may well have already got there for as far as I know. Nonetheless, that information would be endlessly valuable. If you were to go to the town's aid, that may be the series of events. Whereas, if you were to head to the Drovnar Peaks immediately, I have no doubt in my mind that all but the greatest cities would fall to the might of an army composed entirely of Croconis.
Why don't we let Orenthal guide us?
Just
You're just making the DM make a decision.
and what attack should I make next to Great Orenthal?
To go to help with Kulengress,
Yeah.
which was like the iffy choice, or the definite disaster choice was going to.
So Drovnar Peaks.
Well, I mean, so it's basically either Kulengress is fucked, or see the thing is
How many people in Kulengress?
the issue with the Drovnar Peaks is that you don't
500.
you don't
maybe
know.
a couple of thousand. I don't know.
We don't know if
with
there's
Drovnar
people
Peaks, you don't know if they know how. You don't know if they know how to get there. You don't know if they've gotten there ages ago, or you don't know if they're on their way there now.
Right.
And-
Whereas Kulengress, you know it's going to be destroyed, but it's
Right.
like
And-
either way, Drovnar Peaks. If they get there, then it will be a massive leap forward for them completing their
And-
goals. So
Mogzanar, if we were to travel to the peaks, how would we be able to stop Croconis from finding it still? What are we to move the? Are we to move these Dragonborn? Is there anywhere more safe?
Well,
Or kill them
I have no
ourselves?
doubt that if the good point. If
Murder
I mean-
hobo time.
We'll just summon the mask ourselves.
You're in great danger. Here.
If I'm not sure what would happen if you were able to get there first, but I know that they are very powerful as a group. Although, if Croconis were able to learn what I was able to learn about their true power, then I have no doubt that they will have come up with a formidable plan to capture them. Either way, their knowing of their coming would certainly would reduce any risk.
Mogsanor, would you join us on our quest?
I was
have a
thinking the
shared-
same. Your safety is now compromised, which we
We
must
have a
apologise
shared
for. But
passion to complete this quest, and you're hiding here simply because you have the knowledge of where these Dragonborn are. We now also have that knowledge, and we're about to go out into the world travelling. You may as well join us, because there's no reason for you to stay here anymore.
Yes, well.
I must add to that as well. You must yearn for the surface.
I
cannot-
can do a persuasion.
Yeah, I'll have him say something first and then do a persuasion and see what we get from there. So he says,
No.
he says, yeah.
I want you to roll. I'll tell you to fucking roll.
I cannot lie that my heart does yearn to leave these caverns, but I am rather old and I'm not sure how I would fare.
That's okay. We have a goat.
He's on the surface. He's
We think.
Yeah, roll a d20 if it's less than 10, Joe's been eaten. Like a lion or something.
One of us tied him up, right? Yeah, probably. Yeah, cool.
you guys go out of the cavern and the goat's just like surrounded by like, dead dragons and
Just got like a switchblade in his mouth.
Go on, yeah, so give me a persuasion.
Did you say your thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
you said it, yeah.
bits and bobs, yeah.
With advantage because it's everyone?
Yeah, do it with Gesh's help.
Nat fucking 20.
Oh, really?
Packs his bags.
Wait, what am I doing? He says, but you're right. With me being able to have shared this knowledge to all of you, there's nothing that binds me to this place any longer. And if I am able to do anything to,
Now Sparky's gone.
Yeah, I was going to say.
yeah, and with my defences reduced to nothing, I suppose my safety here is somewhat compromised. And if I'm to meet my demise at the hands of Croconis, then so be it. I'll join you and impart what knowledge I can, although I must say I am not equipped for such for the biggest of journeys. Perhaps if I were able to establish myself somewhere I could remain in contact with you.
Yes, well, Cool and Crest is pretty safe.
Can I ask how far away? Wait, I don't know who I am right now. How far away is Cool Crest in terms of miles?
Are you asking me, Oscar? Or?
Oscar.
Oh, sure, yeah. So from here, you could maybe, if you did like a fast pace and like really gassed it, you could probably get there in like
But
2.5
literally in
weeks
terms
or
of
so.
miles.
Oh, in terms of miles.
Yeah. Sorry, there's some maths I need to do.
2.5 weeks. What's that? 20
So
days.
2.5 weeks, you do something. You do
30
5
miles in a day.
kilometres
5
kilometres an hour for 8
Well,
hours
so-
is
so
40k a day.
I said we could do 30 miles in a day.
Yeah,
so it's about 500
miles.
miles.
Is fast-paced walking, so
It's about 500 miles.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
500 miles.
It's 500 miles away.
Mhm.
That,
And
that
we have
sounds
to
about
No,
right.
that's 10 exhaustion points.
On the feet, yeah, we're fucked.
No,
Yeah.
no.
That's
No,
if
no,
we
no,
would
no,
choose
no.
to do it. We haven't
Actually-
decided yet. We haven't decided yet.
Also,
Pilana,
Yeah, in character.
up on the surface we have these things called horses. They
Or
might
goats in our case.
or goats, or dragons, or just
pigs.
Enoch, stop insulting the lady.
I'm
She
not
is
insulting
royalty.
the lady.
She is aware of a steed.
I can have one.
Her stag is
got her
right
stag.
there.
She's got a big stag.
Oh right,
I'm
well,
actually sat on the stag.
Tell me more.
What's this? What?
you know that magical thing you have? We have real one.
It's a real stag.
Just headbutts her.
It's still a real stag. I summoned it with magic, but it's still a real stag.
I kind of missed the message, by the way.
It would-
Did Khazal say
So,
that
like,
they're
bleed
planning
and
to
stuff,
attack?
like, you know, or
Cool
is it like
Crest?
stay and ethereal?
It has.
They haven't. So the messages that they were planning to, or the messages that they have attacked.
Yeah, so the message they're planning to record.
They're planning to.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you said they had attacked.
No. I'm saying
vaguer
like,
information.
I thought it was like a spell and therefore
Sorry,
like
I'm
ethereal.
attacked,
No.
Not
Wait, at the time you did say they were attacking.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, I'm never going to get there in time. Can they hold out for 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Is that why you kept looking at me? I was like, I've delivered.
No. I was like, I thought I thought
Wait,
it'd
I've
be
just
funny.
remembered, guys. I'm so sorry. Basically, they're going to attack at the end of summer,
Which is in what? In 3 weeks'
like a few
time?
months. It's a couple of months, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Ah.
kind of getting
Oh,
to the summer.
what changes everything?
Sorry, that
Well,
was
also
a-
not really.
Well,
Just because
Of course it
Peaks is so
does.
far away.
Yeah.
It's going to take us months. So we still have to make the decision, you know.
yeah, but the thing is, like, it means that we're not like now. If we go to Cool and Crest, the Cult Croconus aren't going to be there.
True.
So that
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
massively change
Yeah,
things.
Yeah. So what we're now proposing is a leisurely jaunt to
Yeah,
Greengrass.
it's getting back. That's the problem, right?
But-
like because of the drop in our peaks thing.
Yes.
On the other hand, we didn't know they were there in the first place, so.
And we've got no reason to suspect the Cult Croconus know where they are. They're after us
How
as
long is the-
emissaries of Arentor.
Nowhere who are.
Oh.
Know where
who are.
Drovnar Peaks are.
Pretty
Ah,
far south from
true.
We know what.
And it doesn't matter.
If it's this closely guarded a secret, then
Oh,
surely the addition of 3 months is inconsequential in the passage of time. The Cult Croconus have been looking for the Drognar Peaks for
Millennia.
for centuries, if not millennia.
I would say at
But-
this point as well, the Orenthor kind of speaks up slightly and just says, I would add that we know for certain what fate befalls Coolin Cress and the many innocent lives that inhabit the town, whereas the Drobnar Peaks are more of a mystery. There are unknowns. While the threat is greater, we can be less sure that death is certain.
And it sounds like the Dragonborn at Drovnar have a chance of defending themselves based on how powerful you say they are.
Especially if we weaken Cult Croconus at Coolencrest.
I don't want to sound like a broken record. I was sent here on a mission to tell you that Cooling Crest is fucked, so
Mm.
can we go?
Khazal clearly thinks it's important that we go there.
Why don't we? How long have we got to get there?
Till the end of
3
summer?
months.
Couple
Yeah.
months.
And how
Two,
long?
well,
So-
two,
so-
you're kind of in the middle of summer, so like month and a half, 2 months. Kind
And
of
how
thing.
long does it take us to get there?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks fast paced, 4 weeks more leisurely.
Okay. Why don't we go there, warn Cool and Crest, and get them out? We don't have to fight Croconus because now we all share this knowledge. If any one of us gets captured, we endanger the Dragonborn at the Drovnar Peaks. So instead, we go there, warn the people of Cool and Crest, and get them out, and then leave before Croconus get there.
We
We don't have
We
to battle
could-
them.
also.
In my
I'm,
experience,
may I just add to your point that.
I've got a little voice. No,
No,
no.
no, no, go,
It's
go,
good
go.
roleplay. It's good roleplay.
He's always
You would have spoken me.
May I add to your point that I, however duty bound I feel to warn the Crest family, there must already be spies in Coolin Crest that have told the cult of our location. Hence, their attacking Coolin Crest would not be happening. We may very well be endangering ourselves with this incredibly secretive and valuable information by simply showing ourselves in the town.
But they
It
already
takes a-
think that. Sorry, they already think you're there. That's the issue.
Well, we
and it
could
takes
solve
a
that
cold
by
Sorry.
letting them know we're not there. If we were to inform the cult that we were no longer in Cool and Crest, they would no longer need to attack.
That's the point.
And where would we and where would we tell them that we were?
I'd advise not saying where we are.
No.
So
But
No.
what we're
But
gonna
if we
do
just tell
is
them
try and
we're
convince
not
the
there,
cult.
they're going to be like, they're probably there.
In character.
Yeah. So what we're gonna try.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna try and do is tell a crazy cult that knows, that is certain that we're at Coolin Crest, that we're not at Coolin Crest, and expect them just to take that at face value.
Or we give them some evidence.
Do we have a way, just other than us physically travelling there, to ask them, to tell them about the fact that this is coming? Like, do we have a messenger service or something?
To Coolin Crest.
Yeah.
How far can a magpie fly?
That
60 feet.
Could I fly on Dragos?
Yeah.
Certainly try.
Good.
in my experience, it might be a difficult challenge to persuade 500 people to leave their homes, livelihoods, and
I think maybe
Impending doom.
maybe the best of both
Don't
plans. Maybe the best of both plans. We could go to. We could send information to Coolin Crest. We could carouse with the locals and spend some time in the inn and give false information that we're residing in some smaller town in the Nundek Fields, away from Coolin Crest, so that the attack.
Even
So
if
would
we
not
don't
be.
you
know
want
the
us to
city.
go to Coolin Crest and tell people we're not in Coolin Crest?
But give them other evidence instead of just telling everybody that we're not there.
So you want us to go to
What does
a
that mean, though?
more remote, less well defended.
I'm
Place.
thinking about saving the people of Coolin Crest.
But I think if we're travelling all the way to Coolin Crest, we might as well just tell the people there, like, we know you're in danger. Sorry, I'm not new to this. But
The likelihood of them leaving, though.
I'm with you, Rudy.
thanks. I like you.
Well, you just said they wouldn't leave their livelihoods.
But we
But if
can
we
try,
tell
and when we inevitably fail, I think
At least they'll be prepared for battle.
exactly.
And just something something you would keep in mind as well is that you know that Coolin Crest is under the jurisdiction of the province of Eastbourne, which is basically the most powerful force in the world. And because they're in the Nundek Fields, because they're like
Away.
so close to all the shit that's in the south, they're very, very much militarized. That's why they have the Crifton Academy. It's like the place to go to learn how to fight, you know. So it's like you got to keep in mind that these are a warrior people as well, and just something that you guys would maybe think is that we'll do it based on roles and everything, but although they're probably unwilling to leave their homes, there's also probably a lot of people there who are willing to fight.
Yeah.
So
Yes, I think the least we could do then is warn them.
Well, if that's the case, why don't we send Gesh on Dragos? You can get there far faster than we can. Warn them, hopefully they can get more arms in to defend themselves, or leave if they want to, and we can potentially head towards the Thingy Peaks.
No offence though, but in my experience, even a bunch of guards, a big bunch of guards, they're just meat fodder. They stand no chance against even a militarized.
Allow them to make the decision for themselves.
What is 5 more people going to add to an army of 1,000,
I would say
regardless of
5
our
more.
powers?
You guys are considered very powerful, you know. I would say.
Like, yeah, we're probably like. Also, it won't be a whole thousand. But
No,
I
that's the point.
I doubt it will be 1,000. No army sends its entire might against 5 people.
How
It
big?
would-
Wait a
But
No,
It's drilling down on like distance.
no, sorry, I meant 1,000 Coolin
How
Crestians.
long is it generally gonna
Crescent.
take?
Right.
Like, how are we going to add that much, you know?
Right.
We're not
But like, you know, but okay, 1,000 Coolin Crestians, but you know, well, how many of them are women and children? No offence.
No, I'm talking about the army that Eastbourne would send, you know.
also just said Eastbourne is the most powerful thing in the world.
Most powerful army, yeah.
They already have an incredibly powerful academy of soldiers there.
And because it's so close to the scales, and there's lots of danger around there, they've got a very high military presence anyway.
So they would most likely send an army to defend.
I can't believe that I am the one with honour in this group, but I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable.
At speedy pace.
not coming to the aid of people of this world that are going to suffer because of our actions.
And what if us going to Cooling Crest means that the Dragonborn at Drovnar Peaks get captured and killed?
And then the world would be too.
I think what I would say is echoing Arenthal. I say that Mighty Arenthal speaks sense, and these are hypothetical risks that. You know,
I understand you. However, you are proving yourself willing to win a battle and lose a war by having that stance.
So yes, I'm
Yes,
sorry
really.
to butt in it, and no, it's not really my place. Basically, I know a little bit about the geography here. It's going to take us 2 months to get down to Drovnar Peak. It's going to take 3 weeks to get back to Crest, and then 2 months from there. So all we're saying is 3 weeks of our time to save a city of people, rather than just spending the next 2 months not doing anything.
It's not.
But we'd have to wait an extra month in Cooling Crest for the attack to happen, right?
Yeah, it's not 3 weeks.
But-
Because they're not going to come and attack for 6 weeks.
Where did 6 weeks come from?
They're attacking at the end of summer.
My voice can be as fucking low as I want it.
Right, wait.
Polana
So
goes from
we'd need to
this
travel to Cooling
lose.
Crest, which would take 3 weeks. We'd have to wait for a month or so for the attack to happen, and then travel 2 months.
I'm absolutely not saying that we should leave them to their own devices. We should warn them, but you know, as we've said, Eastbourne is well. I don't fucking know this. So.
Yeah.
As I know, Cooling Crest is very well
You
equipped.
say that Eastbourne's the most powerful place, yeah.
Yeah, Cooling Crest is very well equipped with the backing of Eastbourne, and our presence would serve only to slightly aid them, in our opinion. Whereas potentially cutting off Croconis a month, 2 months earlier at Drovnar Peaks could save the entire world.
Have you ever had run-ins with the Eastbourne guards, Dorwin?
Depends how you
Yes.
Mongrels, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yes, but the soldiers from the Crifton Academy, they are no Eastbourne guards.
But they number much fewer, far less than 1,000. Probably only about 50.
Remember the king fought a demon?
Yeah.
Actually, no, you wouldn't remember that.
Also, I'm
No,
going
yeah,
to
you
send 180. I just thought more about what the character would do, and I want to go to Eastbourne, to Cooling Crest.
Sure, I thought you were here for the.
Ben, role play.
I thought you were here the thing of Khazal. That was your mission. Why do
No.
you care about Cooling Crest? No? Okay, fine.
Ooh. Alright, wait.
Oh, so you're like, oh, okay, cool. Do you want to say something to in practice?
We'll just pretend.
I've changed my mind.
That's not helpful. Wait, it might be helpful. Can we send a message to... Sorry.
No,
Alright.
I was looking at you.
Is there any way we can send send a message
You're speaking.
to Cooling Crest to evacuate the city, essentially? We know there's an issue there.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time as getting backup for our mission, which will be further to the south.
Backup
Is that too
from
complicated?
Cooling Crest.
Yeah.
So you wish to take aid that would potentially be defending Cooling Crest to help
But
us
they're
with our
gone. They're
mission?
gone in, what, 3 weeks? However long it takes you to send a message there?
I think they would
That
be
might
more.
short, but it's
They,
it's a plan.
I think they'd be more likely to fight.
And then get them to come with us.
Not
down
us
to-
go there, I'm saying like send a message there. Get
and
them
get
to
and then get them to
abandon
come.
the city.
Oh no.
I would also
I think
say
it-
that
They're in the wrong
recruiting
place.
I would
We're
say-
in the wrong
I would
place.
say-
recruiting guards that can be easily bought for a mission that potentially the fate of the world hangs in the balance is not something that I'm
So it's
comfortable
better than
with.
just the fight.
Indeed.
Really, I don't care to admit it, but I've paid off more than a couple of those Eastbourne guards.
Moxonol says,
How
yes,
did
I
the-
should reiterate that the knowledge of Drovnar Peaks really should not leave your inner circle.
Alright.
Yeah.
Indeed, how on
I-
earth did the cult know of
I-
our location in the first place if it was not for loose-lipped guards?
I also think it would be hard to get, like someone said earlier, the entire population of Cooling Crest to abandon their home of ages. They'd be much more likely to fight regardless of the power against them.
Once we got at home,
Oh,
so yeah.
I agree, Doran. It seems to me that the people of Kulan Cress are a proud, if slightly backward and rural place. They're simple folk that would consider it a slight on their honour, especially in the Crifton Academy, to leave that fighting academy to be pillaged and burned to the ground. I think the only way that I see the people of Kulan Cress reacting is to make a valiant last stand, and we are relying on messages getting to Eastbourne. We're going to take 3 weeks to get there. How long is it to Eastbourne? How long does it take to mobilise an army to come back to Kulan Cress? This army that we're speaking of, it might not materialise, and who can say what the fate of 500 people would be?
And you think us five
How
can
many
fight
people
off
do you
the
think
entire cult of Croconis?
I'm not saying that we can. I think
Couple
that
thousand?
what I can say is I think that the people of Kulan Crest stand a better chance of survival with us five there standing alongside them.
And
let's not forget that this is their fate is of our own making.
And this is a trap they're setting for us, and we're walking into it. We now have the location of Drovnar Peaks. You're suggesting we go to the cult, fight them, maybe get captured, and maybe get tortured into giving up the location of Drovnar Peaks, ending the fate of the
We're
world?
not walking into the trap.
We are, if we go back.
No, because the trap would be if we didn't know they were coming. We now know they're coming, and we can prepare. And
what if we lose?
all I'm saying is, if the situation seems impossible, mate, I don't want to die. If the situation seems impossible and 500 people rock up and it's just us five, I'm so fine to leave. That is unavoidable consequences.
When you say 500 people, what do you mean?
cults are powerful.
500 attackers or 500 defenders?
Attackers. If we are there and the odds are insurmountable, then I can leave and
can you outrun a half dragon, half eagle?
Well, that only works if they can see us and they know where we are.
They're looking for us.
We'd be exactly where they think we are. Why not be somewhere completely different?
Well, I mean, we could scout out ahead and have advanced warning of what the force looked like. We don't have to just sit and wait in the tavern waiting for them to.
I think you underestimate them, Enoch. They will have if they are as powerful as Mogzanor has just taught us, they will already have scouts at play in many forms and magical means.
I say we go to Kulan Crest, we warn them, we tell them about the attack, we leave. That's the most we can do. If this information that we now
Is this you or is this Polana? Because I thought you said Polana wanted to
Right,
stay.
if we're doing that, we might as well send.
No,
Sorry.
no. Polana wants to go and help Kulan Crest.
Oh right, I thought you said she wanted to stay.
No. Then that way they can make their own mind up whether they stand and fight or leave, desert the town. We can't have this information falling into the hands of Croconis, so we can't be there when the tower is attacked. That's just a fact. Right? The chances of one of us falling into their hands is quite high. We have no idea how big the forces that they're sending or what exactly when they're going to come. They've said the end of summer, but it could be a week early, it could be a week late. We don't know. So I say we go, we tell them, we let the town make up their decision about their fate. If they can get Eastbourne to send a big force in time, fantastic. If not, then they can leave. It's their decision, but we can't be there when the force attacks. We need to go, tell them about it, and get out of town.
That's why I propose that I go alone. I feel that would be the safest way. I could fly in, they would recognise me.
Back to this.
I'm
flip-flop like so.
They would recognise me. I could brandish the crest, family crest, once more, and I could warn Master Poirus of his inevitable fate. I will not disclose the secret to anybody, but we will tell them what we can.
Yeah, if this Boris guy is a good friend of yours, I reckon we do that.
He is. I do empathise with you, Enoch. As honourable and valiant as I tried to hold myself, unfortunately, when the most formidable cult in all the world is pursuing such a quest as this, there will be collateral damage.
It is unlikely that the force will be not powerful enough, or just powerful enough to defeat Kulan Crest unless we were there. Either they will be easily beaten by Eastbourne, or they will completely overpower them, and our involvement will be unlikely to be the deciding factor.
Yes, indeed, if they are anticipating having to meet us in combat, they will arrive with considerable power.
Or the flip side is they think we're 5 people and don't send a massive force.
In which case, they'll be dealt with by Kulan Crest easily.
But yeah, and is there any way, like, locally to get a message to these people that maybe we're not where they think we are? Like, you know, for example.
I have a
return
horn.
to your idea. Yeah.
I have a magical horn to an angry man.
Sorry, what?
I have a magical horn to an angry man.
I'm sorry, say that, please. Say that 5 more times.
Yeah. I take out from my bag this horn. It's like
And
a
a
fancy
horn.
horn.
Who does that tell what?
So on the other end of this horn is a member of the cult. His name.
What?
I never got his name, but he was clearly in some position of power and was expecting to talk to another cult member. However, he figured out that I'm not part of the cult and was very angry.
You're one of you guys, like.
How?
Sorry,
how
what
did
do you guys
come
call
to
yourselves?
pertain such an item?
One of the cult members
That's the
had it
last
on their
name.
person
What?
in Ornford's tomb.
Oh my god.
Would you mind if I take a look at it?
Please, it's very mysterious to me. I don't understand it or like talking to the man.
As he takes it, you see.
I'm gonna go out to him.
Sure. You see, he kind of says, "One moment," and he goes over to like the corner of the room and like places it down on a table, and like rifles through some of his books and scrolls and pulls one out, and you see he quickly begins like his eyes like flick between the horn and back to his notes, and he says,
It's an address book.
he says, yes, the runes here belong to an individual who goes by the name of Grasinix. He was overseeing my works back when I was part of the cult. He is formidable. He is merciless. You can think of him as as one of the high lieutenants of the cult itself. He is not one to be trifled with, and he is canny beyond understanding. If you were to speak to him, choose your words carefully, you'll be surprised at the information he is able to glean at just short conversations.
What about issuing him a challenge then? Telling him that we're in the Red Spore Caverns and see if we can divert the army from Kulan Crest.
Maybe I believe that decoy would be a very good idea, but maybe once we've left.
Hey, that's canny. Let's do
I
that.
think even if we manage to pull this off, I still think we should warn.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
but providing a decoy,
Yeah.
a challenge.
May split their forces or dissuade them entirely.
My friends, I could remain with the horn and pull them here.
No, we can't do that because
They would-
if you fall into their hands, then they're going to torture you until you give up the information. We all need to be protected.
I understand, but how else can I redeem myself? I would end my life before they were able to get to me, but if it were to pull them away for any such time...
You might not have that choice though, and that's the issue.
Indeed.
So, hang on, sorry. So they're only going off the fact that we're telling them we're in the Red Spore Caverns, right? So
They
maybe-
would be.
No, but
They would.
if I myself, Moxenor, were to contact them, they would seek me out with...
Grassinex was his superior.
I get that, but you don't actually have to give up your life. Why would you do that? You can just tell them, "Oh, hey, I'm Oxenor. I'm in the Red Spore Caverns."
Seems to me
And
you
they'll go
almost
there.
want to be rid of us.
But why are you trying to kill yourself? I don't get it.
Come with us and let us protect you.
There's no benefit of you actually being
You
in the
can
place
redeem
you're
it.
telling them you are.
You can redeem yourself fully, Mogsanor, by defeating the cult of Crotonus in fulfilling their ultimate objective. There is no sense in you laying down your life. That is something that...
But if we were to tell them that we were in the Red Spore Caverns, they would be here in such a rapid amount of time that we may not even have time to leave, or you may not even have time to leave.
But
I
we
could give
can
you
leave
time.
first, and then we tell them we're in the Red Spore Cavern. Why do you have to be wherever
This
we're telling
horn will locate exactly where you are. It's a miracle they haven't got you so far.
Was there?
We did
you
not
had
know
the
No, I didn't
thing
know about
that
that. Oh, but
you
we've got
couldn't be
the.
tracked?
Yeah, I've got a divination spell, anti-divination spell, if that.
Yeah, no, that's why you've not been got.
Well,
by that.
exactly.
So
So even
we
if you come with
continue
us
to
with the
not be
horn, you'll still be protected by
I
Dorman's
understand
magic.
that.
Also, I must add that you being once part of the cult, we could certainly use your assistance along the way. Laying down your life so hastily, while honourable as it is somewhat reckless and almost, and it's just unnecessary.
See, well,
Fine.
I want to die.
Why won't you let me die?
I don't want to DM and do a whole character.
oh no, I'm not playing this whole character for sure. he says.
He walks out the hut and he just gets fucking something falls on him.
The goat falls on
He says.
Snatched by an eagle.
He says, well, it was merely my intention to attempt to detract as many of their forces away as possible. To give all of you more time to seek out the Drovnar Peaks should you choose to go there.
But we can do that and you live.
Yeah, it's
Well, that's an option then, cool.
It sounds like we've got several plans here that are going to work. You, Dragos, sorry, I don't know Dragos, fly off to Kulencrest. Great. Warn them. That's fine, right?
That was my intent.
Meanwhile, we head out of the Red Spore Caverns and head south. You whistle on the old blower and tell them, oh, we're still in the Red Spore Caverns, that's great. And then we carry on south. We maybe abandon the horn if we need to, if that's like an issue.
It's quite possible.
I must ask, where is the stronghold of the cult of Croconus?
They have many bases throughout the Scales and elsewhere.
What?
You good?
Alright.
Oh, I was meant to call a consultant today, but...
He says there are multiple strongholds. While I would happily divulge this information, there's only so much you could do. Perhaps wreaking havoc amongst them or finding out what information you can would be a valuable way to spend your time once the situation with Drovnar Peaks or Kulencrest has been.
I only ask just for us to be able to somehow understand where they may be sending their forces from to attack Kulencrest.
They, through these horns and other means, they are able to communicate. Oh, I'm doing a Scottish accent. They are able to communicate through vast distances between one another. This is how they've managed to prosper in such a way. Wherever their forces are come, they will be deployed from multiple locations throughout the Scales. They will likely amass somewhere in the foothills and, storm Kulencrest as it is.
And likely attack Kulencrest from the east then.
Oh, most definitely.
Then we must encourage them to retreat and clear out to the west.
Vacuum?
Shall we
vacuum.
wrap up a bit? Shall we pack away and stuff?
Next 5 minutes on
Mogsanor, would travelling to Drovnar Peaks alongside the Scales rather than through them be faster?
He says, while I once knew my way through the Scales quite adeptly, I would say that as you progress further south, those roads go unwalked for centuries. I would strongly advise that we spend as little time in the Scales as possible. Although I should warn you that if we are to travel to the east and south from there, while there are many dangers to be faced, to reach Drovnar Peaks we would have to cross close to Mount Nagron, the home of the chromatic dragons. Whether this is something we could manage, I am unsure.
So was it? Did you not say it was north of Mount Nagron?
It is, but there'll be a whole vicinity of like dragons and shit all over.
And what if we were to travel west, because that would take us nearly past Cooling Crest anyway?
Sorry, I meant west.
Oh, I see.
You went west and then south.
Gotcha.
Because that's kind of like the more natural way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, could let me see the east.
Cool. Should we?
From anyway, you could go to the east and head down, but that'd probably take quite a long time.
Yeah.
Should we look there?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So just
sort of got a plan.
Yeah. So I do have stuff prepped for like whatever option you guys are taking, but so just nail down exactly what the plan is, so I can make a bespoke encounters for these situations.
So Gesh is going to go to Cooling Crest, warn everyone.
Well, are we voting on that?
Yeah.
That's what we agreed on.
Well, if four of us are,
regardless.
And then we're going to get out of the Red Spall Caverns, tell via the horn. Tell them where we are. Well, not where we are. Tell them we're in the Red Spall Caverns, but we're fucking miles away by this point.
And I think we should finesse that plan a little bit.
North of the scales. So they're fucking miles away.
Tell them.
No, because they will.
I'm sure the idea is with the horn is that because it locates where you are, but because you've got the non-detection, they weren't able to do that. So I'd imagine it'd be a case of drop the non-detection so they've got hard evidence of where.
Otherwise they wouldn't believe us.
Okay, so they actually understand.
So maybe we should leave Mogson off.
And then book it south. As far as we know.
Why don't
That might be
we
compromising.
drop your thing, tell them where we are, and then like drop the horn in a fucking river so it like travels really far
We're
away.
just like this massive swamp, right?
Well, it doesn't. Maybe that doesn't.
The horn probably has like slightly more advanced magic than just purely its location.
Because I've only been casting non-detection on us, not the horn. So I think it might locate the user rather than the horn itself.
Right. Okay.
User or holder.
Right.
And also, I think Mogzanor just said that like they can the cult can be, can't they be on you in like did you say they can be on you in like seconds if they know the location?
Well, not seconds.
Yeah, it's just like
Ali,
50,
you're right though. We
50
have to
people
assume
there, just like
that most of the cult of Cronus aren't the ones heading to Cooling Crest. There's going to be others.
Yeah.
And they could at least cut off our escape from the caverns.
Well, it's the basic gates or whatever it's called. There's fucking loads of entries and exits.
To be fair, if
Do you know
anyone's
any
going to
of
have a
them?
way out, it would be you.
I was thinking that we could fucking go through the Feywild.
It would be dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
Potentially world-endingly dangerous.
Wait, I know about this. We shouldn't go there.
I'm from there.
Yeah, you're fine.
yeah.
We shouldn't go there.
And that's why you know that we shouldn't go
But I
there.
can lead.
It's not about leading. We're not going to get lost. It's not danger.
Why?
Reasons. I don't know if Dorwin knows, so I can't say.
But I would know.
I'd say Dorwin would know.
Dorwin would know.
Yeah, Dorwin would know for
Okay.
sure. It's not
Alright,
like you.
fine.
So there's like you can risk spending time in the Fae. You can risk massive amounts of time passing.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's not for certain, but yeah.
Oh, stop streaming.
I mean, this is
okay,
why
fair,
why Orenthor's been reaching you since you were a kid. You know, you've had
Yeah,
feelings
yeah.
like,
Yeah, that's a fair point.